This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield.
That deer smelled that sweet freedom. Want to see his children again. My stepdad, he had other plans. See, he beat that deer to the road because he wanted it more. He got down on one knee. My stepdad unloaded the fire of Brad Pitt in the war movie on him. Unseasoned, baby. It's the 10th of December, 2020. 217 Recovery Podcast. My name is Corey Winfield.
Marnie Liston
for maybe this show. Well, obviously this show.
Yep.
And then, I don't know if you'll have time to do one on Saturday.
I don't know.
Might have to go solo.
Oh.
Shed some tears. Tell a story or two. Maybe back from my childhood. Get into character all by myself.
There you go.
It's me and Nico, my faithful, trusted cat. I can tell a lot of stories about Nico. Just cat day. Or I could talk about a wedding day. Not sure which one. Flip a coin.
All right.
Yeah, so our wedding, of course, coming up on Saturday. A lot of messages been getting and a lot of support. And I do have to thank Jason because he made me feel a lot better. The other day I was talking about quiver cheek. Mm-hmm. And I feel it. I feel it coming on. I get a real emotional. I get that, it's uncontrollable cry. My cheeks start quivering, and he said he got that a little bit too. So it made me feel a lot better. He could be, I don't think he's lying, but he could be. Mm-hmm. But I don't think he is.
No.
I think he's just like, look, man, it happens, bro. You know, and his recovery, he said that there's a lot that I like. Justin, my friend Justin called today, and he's got his 11 months yesterday. So congratulations to Justin on that 11 months, man.
Congratulations.
You know, he'll keep doing those 24 hours and he'll have a year. But I see a lot of Justin going through some of the stuff that I went through, you know, and so it's kind of the same with Jason. He said, you know, I see a lot of me and you, what you're going through, and, you know, getting married, and, you know, he said that he thinks that him and I share the same values of marriage, and we look at it the same, and it's not just hey, let's go get married. You know, it's something that, and not saying that people who get married, I mean, people get married all the time, but for someone like him, someone like me, and many other people out there, you know, when you're at that rock bottom and you're thinking, no one's ever going to love me. You know, I don't love myself. How, you know, I'm just going to be single the rest of my life. Yeah, I'll hook up with 15,000 more women. That's a joke. It's a stab at somebody. But it just seems so far out of reach. And then boom, you know, I right the ship. I come to terms with I can never drink again. And life has gotten so much better, and here I'm getting married in 2 days. Well, was it a day and a wake up or something?
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's 10 o'clock on a Saturday when we're recording this, or Thursday when we're recording this podcast. So, like, Jesus, like, is looking out for me. I told you he's a friend of mine.
I know.
He's a big fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's awesome. Today, I talked to a woman from Sanford, the Sanford House, and it's in Grand Rapids. I had heard about them when I was in Grand Rapids a few years ago, and they were still kind of small. I think they might have had just like a women's house there. But I talked to the woman today, and kind of wanted to talk to one of the head people in charge, because the stuff I was reading online, like, she really cares about recovery, and that's kind of what made me interested in them. And I've heard about them recently, and I thought, you know, if there's another place out there that can help people, you know, who's genuine, you know, I definitely want to learn more about them, and, you know, maybe invite them on the podcast. And then kind of turned into an audition. Like, am I good enough to interview them? You know, and I was kind of like, hey, well, you know, and that's cool too. You know, they want to protect their brand, and they don't want to just throw some willy-nilly guy on with their head person, and, oh, that was a waste of time, you know, and time is valuable. And she said that she listened to a lot of podcasts. She, I guess, took a trip to Florida, and she was like, I was just listening to them. She's like, I didn't come across yours, though. I was like, well, did you search good recovery podcasts? Then probably you didn't.
So she hadn't heard us before?
No. No, she hadn't. And she said, but I've been listening, and it just kind of sounds like you guys just kind of kicking it, chill, relaxed. I was like, yeah, that's kind of what we do. I'm talking about my recovery and things along the way. Mm-hmm. I mean, not a doctor, not trying to pretend to be one.
Right.
And she's just like, yeah, that's cool. And she was talking about how some of those, she called them dry. She's like, there's a lot of dry podcasts out there with recovery as a topic. And she's like, some of them are just, I'm like, you don't even have to say it. Like some of them are hard. People probably think this is hard to listen to. Mm-hmm. Other people get it and they keep listening, and that's great. Yeah. But I told her, I was like, I do the podcast for myself. It keeps me sober. It gives me one more thing to do at the end of the day. It's fun for me. She's like, well, what about sponsors? I was like, nope. She's like, but you can make money. I'm like, I know. But problem with sponsors, and I'll break it down real quick, though. It's not a problem with sponsor. Like if someone just says, you know what, Corey, I want to donate some money, help you guys in your cause, and, getting people to and from treatment. That's huge. What you guys are doing with the transportation thing. Hey, that's awesome. But when people start putting money into your show, they start wanting stuff back. And I just kind of compare it to my radio days. I wasn't a sales guy. I didn't like sales. I didn't want anything to do with it. But I would go on sales calls, and I would say, this is what we're going to do for you, and this is what we can do. But if someone were to say, gives us $500, okay, then they're going to want $8,000 back in return from sales. And it used to blow their mind when they would give us like thousands of dollars, and then it would turn back around to, well, I'm not seeing those results after like 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, that's not how radio works. You got to hear that commercial 10,000 times before you really start getting in people's heads. People are busy. They're doing things. And now with podcasting and music on demand, and it's just,
right.
It's easy to lose track of like the radio side of it. And I feel kind of bad for the guys on radio now. And they're like, oh, radio's never been stronger.
I don't know about that.
Okay. But
yeah,
whatever, man. So that's why, no, I'd rather not. I'd rather keep it just us kicking it just like this. Mm-hmm. And I kind of told her about a plan that I did have, and I still do have it. It's just kind of put on the back burner right now, is starting the weekly radio show that we could distribute to radio stations across the country. And since we're a 501c3, that would clear a way for them to meet their obligations to the FCC, because they have to air a 30-minute public affairs program each week. Now, would they run ours every week? I don't know. But that's something that we could look into, getting sponsors. But she liked that idea. She's like, oh, I was like, maybe we team up on that one. But yeah, the people at Sanford House, though, from talking with her, she was a really cool person, and maybe in a couple weeks we'll have them on. And Sanford House is in Grand Rapids. If you're wondering, you can check them out and do a little search on them. But seems nice, seems legit. Mm-hmm. So that went well. Then I don't understand why why I have to make things hard. Like, why is everything so difficult for me?
It's not.
No, listen, I'll tell you. I'll give you an example. So, the speaker in the car. Mm-hmm. Okay. People are like, oh, yeah, easy change, right? Well, it depends if you know what speaker it is. Because I was under the impression it was the tweeter speaker, which is up on the door. Mm-hmm. So, I went on eBay a couple weeks ago, ordered this assembly. All I needed was a tweeter, but it was the same price, so I'm like, might as well. It came, I bust open the door, and I don't have all the tools. Missing a 7mm and an 8mm, which is the only ones I need, and the T20. People who know about tools know what I'm talking about. Well, the T20 I thought I had because I looked in this hand-me-down set of tools that I had, and there was something in there. So I got T20, I'm good. So I go to the hardware store, I buy this half-ass ratchet set that does not have a T20. So I couldn't take the door off totally. So I'm in there halfway prying my way in to get this little speaker out the door, and I did. Changing it, feeling good. Turn on the radio. No, it's not that speaker at all. It's the other speaker in the door.
Man.
So now I gotta take the damn door off. So now I gotta go back, buy the damn tools. I buy the other speaker, which online told me it's this size. Okay, cool. Go there, buy that size. Come back, get the door off. I'm ready. Wait, that's not the size I bought. So I went back, bought the regular kind, get it back. It doesn't have a clip on it, which whatever. I just use my teeth. It's like 2 degrees outside last night. Snot's like just dripping out of my nose. Out there, it's dark. I'm trying to bend these damn wires. Can't even feel my fingers, but
You were on a mission.
that should have taken me 15 minutes at the most. Like, it's not that hard. And I made
so
it into like this
dedicated,
5-hour project, back to the store 8 times or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. Why?
I don't know, but I'm grateful that you did it.
It's frustration.
Thank you.
And we got to drop our rings off. That was cool to get cleaned. And now they're just waiting to be put on our fingers on Saturday.
Yeah.
But while we were there, I got a call and I got to give Tony some props. And Tony, he's been on the podcast a couple times. Tony and I worked together at a treatment center, and Tony's a good guy, man. I really like what Tony's doing in his recovery. And I told him, when they asked her, like, what about him? I was like, I would hire Tony. I was like, fact, it might just be doing that. But Tony's a guy that he's been through a lot and he's lost a lot. But he's also recently been faced with some, I don't want to say turmoil, but he came to that point where it's just like, it's frustration maybe, and maybe doesn't feel appreciated. And, it's just like, he hasn't turned back to the old him, and that's something that I look at that and go, wow, okay. So he's facing this like he should, he's still going out there doing what he needs to do. He's holding up to his obligations, to what he has. And he's doing what he can do about the situation. And I really like that about Tony. And so I told him that. I was like, you might want to hire him. Of course, I told Tony, I was like, well, I told him that you were done with underage girls and that you're so good at your job and so efficient that if you were a hitman, you'd come up missing. But don't worry about it. He's not, that I don't think, but he'd be a really good one. But yeah, hire him. That's what I told him. He was laughing. But yeah, it feels good when you can stand up and say something good and take a minute to reflect on, not just shoot out some bull stuff, but to just think about it and go, yeah, here's what I like about that guy. And here's what he really does. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of like what when people ask your opinion about others, you know what I mean? It's like, you're right. You're kind of put in a spot like, what do I really think of that person, or who are they really? And I kind of touched this a little bit on the blog that I wrote the other day, about like how people present themselves, in certain situations, and, if that's really, really truly who you are, like on a daily basis, like, and you could say that about Tony, when she was asking, like, wholeheartedly, this is what I think of him as a person and as a worker and in whatever capacity that we know people. And it feels good when you got good things to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because a lot of times it's like, well, should I bend the truth a little bit, or should I just like hang up on this person? Like, what's going on? But yeah, it did feel good. And I talked to, like I said, Justin. He's doing good. He's got his 11 months in. He's pretty excited. He's like doing all the little things on the day-to-day basis. But he told me today something that really kind of hit home to like, oh yeah, I remember that, And he was saying that he's noticing when situations do arise, and he's doing the things that he needs to do. He's calling the sponsor. He just got a new sponsor.
Good.
You know, and sometimes you do have to change, and it's nothing personal. You know, sometimes the sponsor will come to you and say, I don't have
Not
time.
working out.
Just